I mean, certainly there are people up here who I might be grasping on for their life, for politically, because there are those who could very well be facing an ouster if these new maps take effect. I mean, Lloyd Doggett has already said that with the new map, he's not going to run for re-election because it would put him against Greg Gassar. And now you have kind of a situation where you have like the old guard Democrat versus the new guard Democrat, where he's pretty much the first person to call for President Biden to step aside, which is Doggett, versus the chair of the House Progressive Caucus. So you've got some interesting dynamics here, or that were going to take place that aren't now going to take place. And I think that's kind of the big reaction is everyone doesn't know what they're, especially if you work for a member of Congress, you don't know if your boss is going to be, in a better position to get reelected or a worse position to be reelected, depending on how this whole thing goes.
Yeah. And for any of those people, they would think, well, we got about a year and a half left before we need to dust off the resume, go find something else. Notable for Texas, Al Green from Houston, the one who stood up to President Trump during that speech. Jasmine Crockett, North Texas, she would probably be unemployed, looking for new work once those maps kick in for Texas. So California says that they want to, Gavin Newsom says he wants to redistrict, but he has to go to the voters. So does he present them with maps to approve, or how does that work in California? Do you know?
Now, so what they would do is that they pretty much would go to the voters, and the voters would decide if they want to suspend this nonpartisan redistricting commission through the midterm elections. And then that would give the power back to the state legislature to redraw the maps. And then after the midterm elections, it would go back to the redistricting commission to pretty much redraw the maps when the next census hits.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah. So the 2028 election would be back to new maps again, if that makes sense.
Sure. No, I understand. Yeah.
But look, it's a political risk that Newsom is taking because there's no guarantee this thing passes. I mean, there are Republicans in the state who believe that there's polling out there that shows that this redistricting commission, or getting rid of it, is extremely unpopular. So we'll have to wait and see how that turns out.
Ron DeSantis in Florida, at least I saw some write-ups online. I didn't take step two to actually see the write-up on this. Is it true that he's also thinking of redistricting in favor of Republicans, or is that just online rumors?
It's been floated by a lot of people, that this idea of redistricting. They've talked about it in Indiana, Ohio, Florida, Illinois, you name it. Maryland's considered doing it, but that might be a little bit hard for them to pull off. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. You got to keep in mind that Florida's already pretty red, and it's gotten more and more red over the last couple election cycles.
Yep.
So I mean, I don't know what more they want to do in terms of making the state redder. Republicans have seemingly had a lot of victories there.
Sure. What else is on your plate for today or for this week up in D.C., Ryan?
I'm probably following a lot of the Epstein stuff, but we'll see. The House Oversight Committee now has the first tranche of documents from the Department of Justice. We'll see if they release any of them anytime soon.
Have a good day, Ryan. Thanks. Ryan Schmelz for Fox News up in D.C. Time is 9:44. The Sergio Show, News Talk 710 KURV. Sergio at KURV.com, Sergio at KURV.com. I got Angels of Love in the studio. Producer Freddie is placing us. How many platforms you got going on, Freddie? What are they? Yeah. We're on the internet right now. Yeah. YouTube and Facebook Live 710 KURV. And you can see our friends. Liana Gutierrez. Pick up your hand, Liana.
Hi.
Miss G is here. Daniela Zuniga.
Hi.
And Daniela is the development director for Angels of Love.
Yes.
Chances are that if you're in the business community, you have heard plenty, got some phone calls, got some text messages. Hey, can you help us out? We got a conference around the corner. Let's start with the history, the background of Angels of Love. What is it? Who do you provide services to? Different programs. Tell me about that.
Right. So I'm Daniela with Angels of Love. We provide programs for victims of domestic violence. So not only do we serve women, we serve families as well. and men as well. You'd be surprised of how many men walk through our door who are victims of domestic violence. So we're not just geared, just for women. We also have youth services that we provide during the year and upon request. We have our programs such as Kind Girls, Girl Power, and those are really just empowerment, teaching our young girls to love themselves, know what healthy boundaries and good relationships are. We have a program that is started in the school district called Distinguished Gentlemen. So we take your young kids, ages, I really can't say ages, I would say 3rd to 4th grade, and we put them through a 6-week program. And that program, during that time, they're taught how to be gentlemen. They're taught how to make eye contact when speaking to someone, shaking hands, knowing the art of sitting up and taking care of themselves, taking pride in everything that they do. So these young kids, they become ambassadors to the schools. And so our principals at the end of the 6 weeks really see a transformation in these young men. We also teach them table manners.
How do you find them? How do you choose them? Are these the young men, the teenagers of the victims of domestic violence?
No. So the school districts will reach out to us. So at least PSJ has reached out to us, and the schools have said, hey, we want to look into this program. Can you bring it to our school? So our executive director, Veronica Bettis, she does an amazing job in bringing great, guests to come and speak to these kids and really just inspire them to be better versions of themselves every day. And they go through a graduation process. So they learn how to tie ties. Our summer camps, our kids learn how to shine shoes, to really just take care and value, what they have and how they present themselves to our community. So it's a great program.
Daniela Zúñiga, Development Director for Angels of Love and providing services to victims of domestic violence. How so? What services do you provide?
So we have empowerment classes that we help these women go through, just to from A to B, to really just saying, hey, they come into our offices, we sit down with them, we do an assessment, we put them through, I want to say it's like 8 sessions of classes that they go through to really just know what they're going to go through, a healing process, what the next step is, whether it is filing a TRO, a temporary restraining order. We do provide legal services, or we have in the past, I should say, where we help the victims go through the process of getting out of their bad relationships.
So I'm guessing you work directly for the the crime victim unit over at the district attorney's office.
Yes, we work very closely with them.
They call you and say, well, we have a handful of more women that could use your help in getting them back. We've dealt with this issue before. I'm just curious, is Hidalgo County, I'm almost afraid to ask this, are we one of the worst areas when it comes to domestic violence in the state, by extension in the nation? Do you have any idea where we rank?
I would honestly say we are, because we are in a social, economic disadvantage. And
that creates a lot of stress to begin with.
It's very stressful when these women come in. And, I started with Angels of Love about 4.5 months ago. And I came from a business community where this was like out of sight, out of mind. I really didn't ever pay attention to
Why did you join?
Why did I join?
Yeah.
Well, I sold my business. I was a longtime insurance agent, and I took some time off to take care of my parents. And at that, I just kind of prayed and asked God, what's next for me? And so he really opened the door when I said, God, wherever you want me to go, you're going to open the door. And that's kind of how I've always lived my life. And I opened up my Facebook one day and it was like, hey, we're hiring. And, I was just like, wow, God, you're quick. Thanks. Okay. So, I just prayed and I said, God, if this is your will, you'll open the door. And I've just been blown away of all of the amazing opportunities, the people I've met, the victims, and your heart just wants to serve them and help them. And, it's an amazing place when you meet the women, who are board members, our victim, like Leanna, she's amazing. I'm a victim myself. You're in awe, and all you want to do is help. So my heart is very driven to this cause because I was a victim myself. My children went through it. I I'm just so grateful that we have an outlet.
I'm glad that you were on that frequency. You were receptive to that message from the Lord that you needed to enter Angels of Love. It could have been like an advertising for, because you sold your business, right? And you have all this free time, right?
Right.
So take a cruise around the world. That could have been the first one you saw. No, but you were waiting for something.
I was, my mom almost passed away. And so coming back off of my brother passing away, my mom, and took care of them. And I just felt like, okay, I need to spend my time with my family.
Yeah.
And so when Angels of Love came up, I'm like, okay, God, you're right. This is where I need to go next. So it's a great segue to what we're doing today.
Daniela Zuniga is the development director for Angels of Love, providing direction and counseling for victims of domestic violence. Unfortunately, that would be a majority of women in our community, also helping out children as well. Liana Gutierrez is on the advisory board and is a survivor of domestic violence. Give me the G-rated version, if you can, just to explain your personal experience with this unfortunate event.
So, unfortunately, I was married for 10 years, and I was in a violent, abusive marriage, and further into...
I'm sorry. Let me press the pause button on that one. In the courtship, were there any signs of this potential violence?
There was very short courtship, but I knew very early on in my marriage that it was a very toxic marriage. There was drugs, addiction involved, violence, and I am a Christian woman, and I said, we're going to overcome this. We're going to overcome this, and I'm going to, go forward, But I think that changed when I had my son 6 years ago, and I was still in that marriage. And I said, this is not the way that I will raise my son to treat women. And this is not the way I will raise my son to become a man, not in this way.
He never saw that, obviously.
He was very young.
Very small.
Yes, he was about tiny. 2 years old. 2 years old.
Yeah.
So, I went through it. And then it's very interesting. When I came, I stumbled upon Angels of Love. I had gone to the DA's office, the Hidalgo County DA's office, and I had requested a protective order. For whatever reason, the requirements, my story, my situation did not match that, but they gave me a handful of pamphlets. Okay. And so in there,
what am I supposed to defend myself with paper cuts?
Right.
Yeah. I was very impacted because it was right around the time that we lost Melissa Banda and that situation where she was murdered by her ex-husband. So I was very emotional when I left the DA's office. And, it came around to they were having an event. I heard a survivor story and I said, I need to be a part of that. I need to be a part of that because I was out of the marriage, but I was still having to share a son with my abuser. So it was very volatile. And research shows that when a survivor leaves a domestic violence situation, they are most at risk for being hurt and or killed. So I knew that very well because I also am a professional social worker. I'm an LCSW licensed clinical social worker. And I had heard of, I deal with people who have dealt with trauma, but I never understood or knew I was going through that same trauma in that marriage. So that's how I came to Angels of Love. And it's like Daniela says, you have a purpose. And I ask God, use my mess, use what I've been through to help others. And that's why I'm here today for sure.
That's Liana Gutierrez on the advisory board, survivor of domestic violence, Angels of Love. You mentioned Melissa Banda, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do the search, people, on your own. I don't have time to explain that one, but I'm recalling, little by little, more details are coming back to my head on that very disturbing case of how TROs don't work, the breakdown of security, and somebody's hell-bent on hurting a woman. It will happen. And sadly, domestic violence happens way too much. Angels of Love trying to address the need in our community, helping women value worth themselves and maybe find a path to recovery, a path to peace. You have a Violence Against Women conference that's coming up on September 8th through the 10th, right down the street here, Mission, the Big Pretty Mission Event Center. So who's coming to that? Who are you inviting?
So this is our inaugural, this is our very first one-of-a-kind Violence Against Women conference, to where we are going to dedicate time to addressing, sexual assault, intimate partner violence, stalking, strangulation, that other crimes that really affect women, here in the Rio Grande Valley. So we do have law enforcement. We do have social workers and victim advocates. And we also have our legal community. We have our attorneys, that are coming. All 3 days have all 3 tracks and disciplines. So we will have a different track for every discipline. And we have great speakers. We have a social worker. We have Dr. Cynthia Catchings. And we have Adult Protective Services also coming to speak to our law enforcement. And myself, I'll be presenting on how we can be trauma informed with helping older adults, the elder population, because you would be surprised on how many people are coming in and they are needing help. They cannot leave their situation because they've been married for 50, 60 years. They have a fixed income. That's not the way we do it. So this conference is going to specifically address that and bring all the disciplines together, speak about what we need to be speaking about, and learn what we have to learn to better serve our community.
You have room right now for more?
Registration is
open. Do you need
open.
Sponsors to, for
absolutely.
tables?
Always
and
looking
like
for sponsors.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that would be it, right? You're not having like an auction or fundraiser sidebar to this as well, no?
No.
Freddie, tell me if you can see this. I want to get the QR code. Can you see it? Okay. So there's a QR code there for the Violence Against Women Conference presented by Angels of Love. It'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, September 8th, 9th, and 10th. Different disciplines that will be had. Be a part of it. Sign up, get some tickets, pick up a table or two as well. What's your seating capacity for this event? Do you know?
We're leaving it open. So if
we have the whole event center.
We have the whole event center.
Okay.
So we have 500 people come in. We will put them all through the different disciplines wherever they
and continuing education credits for
sure.
various careers.
We have TCOL for the law enforcement. We have CEUs for our professional social workers and anybody else who needs continuing education. That is included with the registration of the conference.
Please come back and see us. I know you probably have like a fundraiser, something.
We
like
do.
That.
So in the evenings, we are having a Moments That Matter. For the Monday evening, we are having a mixer for all of our attendees. We are
on
looking
September
for
8th, Monday evening, you'll have a mixer.
We'll have a mixer.
Okay.
And we are also going to have a book launch on the 10th, which is on that Wednesday. We'll have a book launch. And that book, it was written by survivors. Right. And my story's in there. Leanna's
so these are Valley stories?
These are all Valley women who
Wow.
have been through domestic violence. And
our Phoenix Warriors. It's called Phoenix Warriors Rising from the Ashes of Domestic Violence.
Yes.
So our stories are all in one book. We are self-publishing.
Terrific.
And that's going to be the book launch on Tuesday night, the 9th.
Wednesday night. Sorry.
On Wednesday night is the book launch.
Yes.
Terrific. All right. Thank you, Freddie, for the heads up. Leanna Gutierrez, Advisory Board Member for Angels of Love. Daniela Zuniga, Development Director for Angels of Love. Come and see us again as often as you need.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Again, the Violence Against Women's Conference, Mission Event Center, September 8th through the 10th. And violenceagainstwomenconference.org is the website. This is the Sergio Show on Newstalk 710 KURV. This is KURV Edinburgh coming up on 10 o'clock.
When the odds are against you, a force for justice will be there. When you need someone to defend you, when you need a champion, we will be that force. So if the unfortunate ever happens and you or someone you love is in an accident, call me, Jay Gonzalez, or Jay Gonzalez Law Firm, a force for justice.
Introducing the newest destination for luxury in the Rio Grande Valley, the all-new Mercedes-Benz of Harlingen. Come visit Michael Fall, General Manager